And salutations, and welcome back to our Europa Universalis 4 game. RedBstrd as Delhi turned into Hindustan, where we last left our mission. We had defeated Vijayanagar, Andhra, Bengal, the Timurids. We had vassalized Baluchistan, Manipur, and we're currently integrating Manipur into our country, but the Ottomans turned on us and set us as a rival. So we should be looking for assistance from rivals of the Ottomans. Looks like it's just the two of us, and they don't have any rivalry with Austria, Poland, Muscovy. None of which are apparently powerful enough to be valid rivals of the Ottomans. Austria is the closest one, but Ottomans have twice their development. And we have triple development of Austria. Nice, so we still have some financial problems. But at least now our army is up to close to the maximum size that we can get it. And I think we're going to get some more cannons when we can afford them. But first we're going to have to pay off some debt. So my goal is for us to stay at peace for just a little while. Reduce the amount that we're paying our troops, pay off our debt, get caught up a little bit more in technology. Because we were for quite a while ahead of time on technology, and now that's not the case. It's often just a delicate balancing game where if you're expanding rapidly, then you won't always be able to keep up on tech, depending on the country that you are and what your ideas are. Okay, again, we have a choice between increasing piety or lowering it, and we're going to go with increasing piety. Because we like getting these piety bonuses. The morale of armies, this makes a huge difference for us. It'd be nice if we could get somebody like Tengu as a vassal, but they've got a lot of developments, they would never agree to it. As period of peace is nice because it's allowing us to let some of our aggressive expansion diminish. Okay, so Timurids are hiring the army of Khorasan for 0 ducats per month. Essentially, Khorasan is lending its army to the Timurids to try defending itself against Tabaristan. But with Tabaristan allied to the Ottomans, yeah, there's very little they can do to defend themselves. Let's get a new royal marriage with Ayutthaya. And once we annex Manipur, we can start looking for another ally. I would kind of like Muscovy as an ally. I'm going to start working on... Oh, the ruler died. And we got our very good military ruler. And the heir is pretty good too. We're just going to pass both of these decisions because we like those bonuses and they give us more piety. We'll renew those royal marriages just across the board. Okay, and our heir is a pretty good heir. Gets bonus discipline. Now we haven't talked about liberty desire very much, but we could take a look at our subjects here. So we've got 2 vassals. And the stronger they are relative to us, the more liberty desire that they'll have, the more desire that they have to be free of our rule. The closer our relations are, the higher their opinion of us is, the lower our liberty desire will be. And if they're ahead of us in diplomatic technology, the harder it will be to keep them loyal. So we're behind time, so they get a bonus to liberty desire for that. But if we have a royal marriage with them, it keeps them more loyal, and the higher diplomatic reputation is, the easier it is to keep them loyal. If this number ever reaches 50 or higher, they will become disloyal, and they'll stop paying us these taxes, they'll stop sending their troops to help us out in battle, and they could try to seek support from each other and from foreign nations to try getting their independence. And often our rivals will back their attempt at independence. Sorry about that. Needed to sneeze for a second there, so I had to mute us so I wouldn't sneeze on the mic. But our liberty desire for Baluchistan is 0 because of all the trust that they have for us, and Manipur is very low as well. Just how strong we are compared to them is going to keep them pretty loyal. I should note, due to an issue with how the game is designed, you can only, your trust that you have is only towards allies. If you're not allied with somebody, that trust degrades over time. Like Baluchistan is no longer our ally, so their trust is going to drop with us a little bit every year, even though they're our vassal. That's something that they should change, because it doesn't really make sense. So our truces are going to expire with Vijayanagar and Timurids in the next couple of years, in 1560. And we have now annexed Manipur. We inherited their army. Right now it's pretty disorganized because it just became our army, so the morale is very low. And we're not paying them full wages, so they are too disorganized to even move for a few months. Yarkian's opinion of us increases, that's good. And we could pick up a new ally. Uzbek wanted to be our friend, and they do like us quite a bit. Their military tech is only 10, I'd rather have Muscovy, who's 11, and almost certainly has a larger army. Is going to prosper much more. They've got a good ruler. They've fought with the Ottomans in the past. It's actually set them as friendly. And I'm guessing that Yarkan doesn't get along very well with Uzbek. We're going to build up our trust with them because we want to try getting them as a vassal. When we can, we'll start paying our troops more and prepare for war with Vijay. The good thing is it looks like we're not having any problem with rebels, just a tiny bit of unrest over here. but not enough to concern me. We should never actually have to face these troops, these rebels on the battlefield. And our military technology is now better. We're not quite ahead of time yet. We have choices of new infantry. We can compare these. We can see that this one has 7 on the offense. This one is a bit more balanced. Let's go for the offense. Let's see, do our states want to give us anything? Nothing that I can spot. I've gone through this a bunch, so I'm not going to each time go through and explain what each of these do. Civil War in Uzbek. Yeah, those Timurid troops aren't fighting very well. They are bankrupt. Timurids is bankrupt. So I definitely want to invade them as soon as possible, as they'll basically be unable to defend themselves. Their troops aren't being paid. They don't have a great deal of respect in their country. Start paying our troops for now. We've made a huge effort towards paying off our loans. We needed to hire a replacement general too. He's not very good. And right now our technology is 10% cheaper than it otherwise was because of one of our events. Let's check on the spread. So we know that feudalism is all throughout our country. Renaissance is all throughout our country. Colonialism is all throughout our country. Printing press is only in this one province and is spreading from there. It's spreading to the places with high development first. So Sirhind has pretty high development, Delhi has high development, and these less developed provinces aren't getting it as quickly. But we'll spread throughout this high development belt we have. We've made France much more friendly to us, and if we could get an alliance with them, we should. But no, we're so far away that they don't view that as a productive alliance. Muscovy's not as far away. I'm wondering if I should delay our war with VJ and instead take advantage of the fact that the Timurids are bankrupt. I think I'm going to do that because Timurids are at war with Tabaristan and Ottomans right now. So if I could take some territory here, I could prevent them from getting much in the war. And that seems like it's more of a pressing matter. Not going to worry about that. It's not relevant to our part of the world. Okay, do we want piety or do we want to lose piety? Of course we want piety. And now Tabaristan's making rapid gains. When can we invade? We can invade in May. The only mission that we have that's of interest, convert Manipur to Sunni. I guess. Okay, next month we can invade. Do need cause for war, and it looks like we have a claim on this province, so we're going to press that claim. And they are allied to Oirat and Kazan, who will join the war on their side. That's fine. I think we'll just waltz over them all the same. Is there a second general? Actually, let's just split these troops up. Biggest danger to us right now is not their army, it's rebels in their country. Because their army is going to be garbage while they're bankrupt. Just get some technology. And we're pretty close to being able to get yet another idea group. Yeah, you can see these troops, that there's 7,000 men from Baluchistan are fighting this huge army of started with over 30,000 Timurids. And Baluchistan won. So now we have cannons on the battlefield, and I haven't really looked at very closely how they function. So when we get the chance, we should go over that. So wait till the next big battle we get into. We want to lose admin, and we want to lose prestige. Because these points are valuable to us if we want to catch up on technology. Prestige we can get pretty easily. We can get additional diplomatic reputation, or try to catch up on diplomatic technology. I think diplomatic reputation is valuable to us. We're not relying on navies. That's not as important to us. But diplomatic reputation could be used to do things like vassalize Yarkand. Not too far off from being able to do that these days. As we grow a little bit bigger and get rid of this modifier from having annexed Manipur, we might be able to vassalize Yarkand and then bring them into our country diplomatically. And since we have 0 corruption, one of our events could just give us 20 prestige, and that just happened. Sadly, they did start taking a lot of territory right before we invaded, and that's unfortunate. Baluchistan has a claim on Khorasan, so we could invade them for that territory as well. They have no allies to protect them, they like us, but we don't really care. Become our vassal. But we could just feed their territory. Or subject. Our movement options are a little funky because of these timbered forts getting in our way. Okay, so this territory we're going to hand over to Baluchistan. Make them be the ones to core it. That way we can save up all of our admin points for technology. Okay, time's the need. Okay, we can ask Baluchistan for some assistance. How about we ask them for administrative points? And we got pretty respectable manpower. They give us 25 administrative power, and our relations get a little closer. Let's also give some of this territory to Baluchistan, reward them for being our vassals. Where are these guys retreating? They're retreating to Ferris. We'll chase them down and try to eliminate them. Our war score isn't super high because Oirat up here and Kazan are in the war. If we want to get our war score too much higher, we're going to need to send troops to invade them. We'd need military access through somebody like Uzbek. And we do have a diplomatic slot free, so why don't we get that access? We ask them for the right to move troops to their country. I'm going to transfer this territory, roll it over to Baluchistan. And we'll march one army up here to Kazan. And that one too. We'll march these two armies up to Oirat's capital. But we'll send this one to their other province. Okay, Khorasan is completely occupied. Let's take those provinces for Baluchistan. It'll upset a few people, but we don't mind. And we'll take their money. And force them to give up the claims that they have on Baluchi territory. And now we've got a bit more cash, but not quite enough to be able to pay off a loan yet. So let's just check again to see if any of our estates want to give us anything. Mostly I'm waiting for the opportunity next year to be able to ask our merchant guilds for some more money, and that should help us pay off one of our loans. We're just going to leave that diplomat there in perfect relations with Ayutthaya. And the reason why is that every year, if we're not in perfect relations at the end of the year, relations will degrade by 3. So I can just leave them there. I'm kind of lazy. I'll fight the Kazani army here. Nope, they retreated. And Timurids want to offer us a peace deal. We're not even going to look at it. Because we know it's not going to be as generous as we want it to be. Alright, so this is going nicely. Should take too long for those forts to surrender to us, and then we can force a peace upon Timurids. I don't like Tabaristan getting that much potentially larger. since they're an Ottoman ally. An empire with colonies and vassals resembles a rowdy family, and it takes a firm but fair hand to keep everything in mind. Recent policies have won the admiration of our subject nations and bring all of us closer together. So Balochistan will like us more. That's nice. Let's keep an eye on how long these videos have been going on. 25 minutes, so that's fine. We'll keep it going for another couple minutes. So we can see that the nation of Bohemia, it's way over here, is split between Protestants and Catholics. And they don't have the level of tolerance that we apparently do. So they have been thrown into a disaster where 30 religious rebels have risen up, and they're going to try solving that problem by bringing their populations, forcefully converting them to the official faith, trying to eradicate the heretics. Actually, it looks like the heretics are the religious minority that's trying to defend itself against eradication by the state. That's the option that they've chosen. This is another one of those disasters that could happen in their country. And we've avoided that because we're just so tolerant of our minorities, religious minorities. Okay, so the Ulamar clergy. There's an opportunity for them to appoint a replacement leader who's supposed to assist our ruler in the capital. So there's two candidates. One of them is an old cleric, and he's powerful within the ulama. So we could just nominate him, ensure that he is the person chosen, and that will give our ulama more influence in our country. Or we could pass over this old guy and pick a young guy who were more likely to be able to influence. So our ulama would lose influence, gain a little bit of loyalty, but we'd have to spend money. I'm just not willing to spend money right now. Hope we can get some more cash here. We needed our money to pay off some debt. We paid off another loan. Now our interest is a minuscule part of our income. And we only need to save up about another 100 ducats, just under that, to be out of debt. If we wanted to, we could raise war taxes for the duration of this war. And what that does is it reduces the amount that we spend on our army by 20%. So that would save us 8 ducats per month. And it would reduce the cost of our fleet by 20%. So that would save us almost half a ducat per month. So it'd be making about 8.5 ducats more per month for the next 2 years, as long as we remain at war, because new taxes offset the costs of our military mobilization. That doesn't seem like a good use of our points. I would rather try to get ahead of time on military tech. Because once we defeat Kazan and Oirat, we could take money from them. And we're not far in debt at this point. We've got a healthy economy. So Oirat is completely occupied. We can't take any of their provinces in this war, as we don't have any connection to it. We can't extend administration over it. We can't core those provinces. But what we can do is take their 7 ducats. Oh, do you guys need us to send you a gift? And we can force them to give up claims, their cores on other countries, just to punish them from taking the wrong side of this war. Force them to give up their claims in Uzbek, which Uzbek will appreciate. And we're just doing this to punish them, and because it gives us a little bit of prestige. Let's march these troops back down. the border with Fiji, because I would like to be able to invade them. I can see a Timurrid army is moving through Yarkand, but we're not going to chase them down as they're largely irrelevant. Focus on here. Sue for peace, let's also take their money. Man, I'm very good at saving up money. We're going to punish them by making them give up all of their cores in Russia, or Muscovy. Make them give up all of their cores everywhere. And that's their punishment for having chosen the wrong side in the war. And then we'll move these troops down again to the border with Fiji. And Fiji is allied with Andhra, so we'll have to fight them both at the same time. And that's not a problem. We can do that. Okay, so let's take what we want here. The war score to take all of that quite yet. I'm almost willing to accept that offer. And I would like to take some of this for ourselves. Okay, so we've got an event. Moving some troops around here. So we've got an event that there's an argument in our court regarding the importance of muskets compared to traditional archery. We've been using a lot of bows, and a lot of veteran archers are in our military. So we could force those archers to retire, or to replace them with musketeers, but we would lose some of our army tradition, since we have a lot of people experienced with those. Or we can continue to embrace the role of archery in our military, but that obviously is kind of outdated military tech. It would increase the cost of our military tech. Well, I don't want to lose army tradition, because what does army tradition do? It gives us more morale. It lets us siege more effectively. It ensures that after battles we recover manpower and morale more quickly. And as our army tradition is higher, we get better generals than we would otherwise get. So we reluctantly have to take a slightly higher cost in our military technology. But we're catching up pretty well here, so I'm not all that worried. Oh, there was peace. Bardistan took some stuff. Ottomans took that province. So let's try to beat up on Timurids until we can get the peace deal we want out of them. Now we can move into this territory that the Bardistan had occupied previously. And let's cancel our rights of military access through Uzbek. We don't need those any longer. But I would really like to get this alliance with Muscovy. I have a choice of getting piety or losing piety. We always go with getting piety in our current decision-making capacity. We just want those bonuses. We want the missionary strength, morale of armies, fort defense, all that. Okay, Samarkand has fallen to us, and that was the capital. So now we can take whatever we want from them. So we wanted that territory, we want all of their money, of course. We have a claim on Kokand. I want Kabul and Samarkand, though. They're valuable provinces. Oh, we could close some of this territory off. So that Tabaristan can't take as much of it. Now there will be this little pocket of Afghani provinces that Tabaristan can't get through. Let's actually embrace that idea a bit further. Borders would look so ugly if we do that. Yeah, I think that's going to be our decision. So now we control Kabul. I don't think we really need that fort there. We're going to court, and we're going to increase the autonomy, just so that we don't have to deal with any revolts there. Let's give this territory to Ulama to reduce the unrest there, and we'll give this so that the autonomy doesn't affect our taxes. And now we can pay off our debts. We're out of debt. We've got some money in our treasury. We're not relying on mercenaries. Our big goals when launching this war is to have troops in place so that at the very beginning of the war we could just rout and destroy their forces and then siege them out in relative peace. Royal marriage with Baluchistan ended, so we'll get a new one. They're asking for us to turn them, instead of a vassal, into a march, which is a certain kind of subject. And we'll go over this in a second. I want to stop this video and start up a new one.